Whatever. What are Wood Elves getting banned for? They're just generally strong. Also, hi, Awesome Rhino. Let me know if my audio sounds good. I normally do an audio check, but feeling risky. Feeling like I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. Dun, 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 dun. Scroll over slightly. There we go. Sounds fine. Nice. All right, the YouTube analytics thing on the back end is being real slow, so I have no idea how many people are actually here. Update, damn you, update. USA team number 579, and there are 60 more to go. 2 million more well on the way. Okay, Codex says there's 7 people, which is not that many. Which is sad, bro. Guess I'll just not stream. No, I am actually kind of annoyed that this YouTube changed how streaming works during my hiatus, and I've been relearning it, and their new system sucks. It's just really bad. To be fair, they were trying to help. Whereas like on the back end, I used to have 2 tabs open, the YouTube streaming tab, and then I would have my own video open and muted so I could see the chat and respond, which wasn't on the old page for various reasons. And now it's supposed to be all in one, but it's just like buggy as shit. All right, whatever. I can't see how many viewers we have. I'm just going to accept that's my new reality and get the stream started. There we go. Finally updated to 10. So what do we got? What do we got today? Bim, bam, boom, pow. Got the World Cup. 2 more quarterfinals. We're going to stream this. And then Slavic Mushroom Pickers. I did not name them. They named themselves that. Versus Clan VM. So we have the last 2 quarterfinals today. The other 2 we did cast this morning. 4-1 and 4-1. It's funny that we started out the streams with a ton of 5-game series, and then we just started getting 4-1s and 5-0s. So yeah, we got all of our 3-2s out at the start. We'll see if we can get some more 3-2s in these games. So someone has to join ODM/France or Hauptschweiz, which means go Switzerland in the semifinals. We have Visegrad or USA 4, the final USA team still in it, or Slavic Mushroom Pickers versus VM. 2 of those 4 teams will be joining those people in the semifinals. If you have not joined us at all, this is the World Cup. We had 17 teams join. We asked that people either be of a geographic location, such as Great Britain, Visegrad, USA, etc., or if you just have friends across the globe and you really want to play in this event with your friends, then we also said you could be a clan as well. So we had XMT, CB, ODM, RTK, and VM sign up from various countries. So yeah, let's do this. For this stream, we have Visegrad, which is a collection of like 3 countries in Eastern Europe, versus USA 4. At the top, you see 2 factions, Wood Elves and Vampire Counts. Those are each team's global ban. They got 1 choice of a ban that they could apply. That neither team can play that. So America banned Vampire Counts. It means none of these 10 players are going to pick Vampire Counts. And Visegrad picked Wood Elves. So no Wood Elves, no Vampire Counts for this best of 5. Scarbrand, Kukinko, Danikentrop, Daceberg, and Segos versus Gojira, Flying Taco, Hattie, Beard, and Incars. Mix of conquest, domination, land battles. Should be fun. Let's get into it. As I've said on previous streams, but just in case you weren't here for those, we do cast all 5 games no matter what the score is, and I have not seen any of these games ahead of time, but I do know technically who won because I've helped organize the semifinals. All right, game 1, Scarbrand on Ogres versus Gojira on Lizards, and Saurus spotted. Let's go, Saurus frontline. Sorry, Scarbrand, I'm rooting against you. because I like me some Saurus. So we have a teeny tiny Saurus box of 5 Saurus spears around a red-crested skink chief on foot with no abilities brought. Then we have a Stegodon and a Solar Engine Bastildon, and then a Skink Priest of Heavens also on a Stegodon. So 2 Ballista, 1 Solar Engine dinosaurs for some serious artillery. He brought only Wind Blast, which is interesting. Then we have Chameleon Skinks and the Umbral Tide as a stalking skirmish force with some Golden Riders. Neat build from Goji, very silly. Not typical, but I do worry because when you tend to have these skirmishers, what almost always happens to them is they'll get pressured, they'll retreat, but then there'll be nowhere to retreat to because the safe area is so small that they'll just kind of get murdered anyway. Yeah. All right. For the Ogres, we have a Thunder Tusk, and some Saber Tusk packs, Noblars, Ogre Bulls with dual weapons, 2 Lead Belchers, some Noblar Flingers, Blood Vultures, and that is about it. So a lot of cheap Ogres, and then Thunder Tusk and some Lead Belchers. Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw probably has his heal. Yes, he does. He also has Brain Gobbler. Neat. Now with 3 Lizardmen artillery, their artillery is generally not very good, but 3v1, the Thunder Tusk is in for a bad time, and it looks like the Salamander Hunting Packs are also just trying to get some free shots off onto him. Applying a little bit of fire to his booty. He does have healing from the Slaughtermaster if he needs it, but damage is damage, and damage is good. So the Thunder Tusk is not going to be able to artillery kite out the Lizardmen as it might have expected, which means the Ogres are going to have to leverage their superior melee force versus the Saurus, and that unfortunately is going to have to come down to the Lead Belchers to soften them up before the Ogre Bulls just pile into their death. So we'll see how that goes, but overall actually this build seems to be doing pretty well against the Ogres so far. Just looking around, it's like, oh, well, the Lead Belchers also have to get in range, and that means they'll also be getting shot at by the Stegodons. I do wonder if there's just too many things for the Stegodons to shoot though. If Scarbrand hurries up and runs in here, you know, it's like, all right, you can't shoot both Lead Belchers and the Thunder Tusk while we soften up your Saurus and then get the Ogre Bulls in there. I don't know. There's also not a lot of good dinosaur killing power in this Ogres build. If you look around, there's not like good anti-large armor piercing options. One of our first heals came out onto the Thunder Tusk, saw that earlier. So its healing cap is around the corner. Something to be concerned about though is the Lizard's lack of ammunition. Really not that much ammo on a lot of their artillery. The Skink Priest of Heavens is already running close to dry. 11 shots left. Golden Rider's getting chased around by Ogre Bulls, mostly trying to bait those Ogres back into a bad situation. I imagine the Salamanders are going to turn and shoot at them soon as the Ogre Bulls try and pull back, because I doubt that they'll really charge into Saurus Spears. Yeah, so they're going to pull back, but they'll be under the watchful fire of the Umbral Tide. And Chameleon Skinks. I do like that the Stegodon's not getting distracted by this, and it is focusing on important targets like the Lead Belchers and like the Thunder Tusk with its limited ammo, and not just like, ooh, there's Ogre Bulls right next to me, I'll shoot at them. Good fire discipline. I still am a little worried about Lizard DPS. Like, overall, do you have the damage to finish this game? Because Lizard artillery is not meta for a lot of reasons. Steldon's been holding its shots. I wonder why. Maybe just in case healing comes out, they want to hit him with that fire shot, and then they want to keep that thing alive for later. All right, so here comes some healing. Did they save fire damage? Slaanesh needs to turn in fire. Salamanders are running forward. Looks like they want to put him on fire and reduce some of that healing, but it's not going to happen. So. Okay, now they start to shoot. There's still 20 seconds of Troll Guts. Not bad. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. Noblar Flingers are in range. Bounce power is still 50-50-ish. Some Ogre Bulls and Noblars get pushed away by Saurus Spears. Overall, Lizardmen still relatively happy with how this game is going. Getting concerned about their ammunition consumption. In comes the Snowball. Misses the Umbral Tide. Still does damage through splash damage. Salamanders really don't do that much damage to infantry, so the Noblar Flingers not taking too much from these volleys. And a Solar Engine shot. Wow, they really want those Flingers to rout. I mean, I get it. You don't want to get poked by little pebbles all day, but still. Healing cap is in sight for the Thunder Tusk. Big shot onto the Umbral Tide. They're down to half HP, and Blood Vultures are starting to move in, though there's not a lot of targets for them to take out, so I wonder what they're doing here besides just getting shot by Chameleon Skinks. They're getting shot by Chameleon Skinks. What up, Attack Speed Enjoyer? Hope you're doing well. I was reviewing some World Cup footage, looking at some games I might have wanted to crop out and make individual videos, but I realized I was putting my mouth too close to the mic because I was worried about not You worry about being too far away and like not getting your sound picked up, but I was getting too close and it was getting like, what was that thing? I mean, maxed out gets the point across, but I forget it. The thing where you're too loud for an audio device, then it loses quality. Peeking, that's it. It was peeking. Lizard leader is Jar Jar Abrams. He loves his empty mystery boxes too. All right, the artillery duel carries on. We are starting to see the consequences. This Stegodon's down to 9 shots. Skink Priest is down to 4. Umbral Tide still have a lot of ammo, but are getting very low on HP. Bastildon has half of its ammunition left, and the Swords are starting to have to move out and do something. Lead Belchers have moved up. Still mostly healthy. Where's the other Lead Belcher? There, he's way back here. He has 9 out of 16 models. Okay, so, but one of the Lead Belchers is like full health. And currently just using its time to shoot into the Umbral Tide, and then they'll switch on to the Saurus. But that's really the big thing is, this is Conquest. I forgot to mention that. So the Ogres have the point. They're not under any pressure to sprint into the Saurus and die. And he does really want to soften them up with Lead Belchers, which is why he's been keeping them out of artillery range for most of this game and just letting the Thunder Tusk eat the artillery fire. What up, Stormzilla? How you doing? Saber Tusk packs get rampaged into Saurus spears. It is a bad time to be a weird tiger thing, as Skinks and Saurus are poking and jumping and prodding. There they go, routing away. Can't say I blame them. And other Saber Tusks are getting close to getting rampaged as well. Lizard's actually falling behind on the balance of power. Despite how healthy their HP bars are, it's the ammunition they've lost that has counted so much against them. As Lead Belchers continue to kite away, now standing in the woods, firing out of the trees and into the Saurus. Thesaurus? The Saurus. Decent shots onto those guys, but the Lizards got to move out. 1, because they're running out of ammo, and 2, because they do need to take this point eventually. Solar Engine, regular Stegodon, still firing away where they can. It looks like now they're trying to shoot at Ogre Bulls. The Skink Priest of Heavens is out of ammunition. He's officially just a Stegodon caster guy. And the Thunder Tusk is still 2/3 HP after this Troll Guts is done, so that is kind of why you don't see Lizardmen artillery, is just lack of ammunition and real damage. They didn't even kill the Thunder Tusk. And yeah, they weren't entirely focus firing it, but they were shooting it a lot. A lot. Saurus and the Red Crested Skink Chief get rid of some Noblars, but unable to fully decapitate the actual Ogres, and now the Lead Belchers have moved up, largely unafraid of the artillery that's left. 4 volleys left on the regular Stegodon, 6 on the Bastildon Solar Engine. So Lead Belchers are feeling peachy keen. Balance power is really favoring the Ogre Kingdoms now as they just kite out the Saurus with big old cannon boys. I'm gonna follow this cannonball when this guy fires. Hey. Wow. Okay, wow. The rest of your homies fire and you don't just because I said I was gonna follow your shot. Okay, whatever, dick. Bounce power is getting pretty bad. Stegodon, 2 shots. Bastildon, 4 shots. They might finish off the Lead Belchers, or effectively finish them off. Just, you know, they're down to 5 models out of 16. Maybe get them down to like 2, so they're not really a threat. There's still a whole other Lead Belcher, and of course, there is a very healthy, while heal-capped, very healthy Thunder Tusk that can cycle charge all of your infantry to death regardless. There's no mass to really stop him. The Stegodon's on the other side of the field. Blood Vultures charging into the Source, who just got hit with a big Lead Belcher volley. If there was a Terror Source nearby, they would rout, but it does not seem to be the case just yet. There's the Terror Source. And they'll get running. Ogres still hold the point. Ogres have the bounce power advantage. Ogres have more boys. How many times did they hit the guy in front of them with their cannon shots? Unsure. Probably 50%. Army losses might be coming for the Lizards soon, as they're down to just their 4 single entities for any form of power. Stegodon used all of its ammo. It got 900 value. All of its ammo, 900 value. All of that one's value, 800. And the Skink Priest of Heavens did a little bit better at 1600. But yeah, if you're a ranged unit and use all of your ammunition and don't even pay for yourself, generally not considered a good ranged unit. Now, I can hear you screaming at your computer screens, it's a giant fucking dinosaur, it's a dual purpose. True, but the artillery part of it's still pretty bad. So then you're paying a premium for something that's okay. Like, I get the utility of it. I don't think the build is terrible. I'm just pointing out why Lizardmen artillery isn't taken that often. It's very niche. I'm also very disappointed they couldn't even kill the Thunder Tusk. Army losses is here. And it does seem the first win will go to Visegrad. How much debuff was terror again? I think it's -8 for being afraid of something. Yeah, values are going to be a bit wonky because a lot of the value that was lost was just ammunition burned into the ground. But the lead belchers, both of them almost paid for themselves, including the one that was getting shot so much, so it still got its value out. Thunder Tusk did very well. On the other side for Gojira, Heaven's Caster did well. Stegadon got... It almost doubled its value in the brief time it was in melee than shooting all of its ammunition. Saurus got kited as they tend to, which is generally why we don't see them very much. Skinks are faster and cheaper, so they can actually catch their targets. And they don't matter as much when they die. Salamanders and Skinks did fine. GG. Okay, let's grab this one. And then the paintbrush tool, and then do this. Scarbrand gets a W. Gojira gets an L. It's okay though, because Gojira is stinky. Next up is the Flying Taco game. Let's go find it so our viewership can go ahead and tank. Boo, viewership go down when Taco not on screen. Boo, boo. Wait, who am I looking for? Kukinko? Oh, DeVito Goblin, that's right. So Taco's name is all stupid. Get ready for more Ogre Kingdoms content and get ready for a second Visegrad win, because I know, dude, Taco pulls stuff out of his bum, but this looks cursed. Greenskins versus Dwarves, and that is a lot of Trollhammer torpedoes. Okay. Taco is the Ogre Master. He knows things mortal men cannot comprehend, but I am scared, frightened, and alarmed. We have a front line of a Noblar, a Blood Vulture, Greenskins Goldtooth, and then a Butcher of the Great Maw with its heel, a couple Ogre Bulls, and a Bruiser with the Fistful of Laurels. Then a Vanguard force of Golgies Maneaters and Noblar Trappers. For the Dwarves, it is a battleship formation, as we have a whole bunch of Iron Drake Trollhammer Torpedoes, Iron Drake Regulars, then Dwarf Warriors and Miners. We do have Malachi Makaisen and a Master Engineer with Smoke Bomb. Already Golgies Maneaters down, 2 of them are down to half HP, and they haven't even reached the front line. Flash Bomb slowing them significantly. The other ones are going to reach the Dwarves, pile into the Dwarf Warriors, and get blocked up by their mass. They will slowly get through, but the Blood Vultures shatter on impact as the Ogres try and get in. 1 Golgies Maneater is leaving. A second Maneater is leaving. The Noblar Trappers are also almost about to leave. And Greenskins hasn't even reached the fight yet. The Ogres just trying to get into melee where they can maybe start to turn this around. Most, like 80% of the Dwarf balance of power is in these very fragile Iron Drakes. High armor, yes, whatever, but they have low HP values, so if the Ogres can actually get to them, they will do decent damage. As we can see, this Trollhammer Torpedo is already close to routing, down below half HP, but the Maneaters being kicked out is really brutal. That was a lot of the armor piercing of this Ogre's build. Greenskins is in here doing some stuff with Fistful of Laurels and Monstrous Impact slowing down Malachi so he can't get out of here, but without real armor piercing, his other Ogre Bulls are struggling to get much damage out. You can see they're being routed off. And it's that Iron Drake debuff. They're on fire. So while they're taking damage and while they're surrounded by enemies, which are 2 different leadership debuffs, they take a 3rd one in the burnt and just route off. Golgies Maneaters are in. trying to shut down the dwarves that just take a big old beam of fire to the face, still about to rout as the Fistful of Laurels is going to wear off soon, and then their leadership will surely crumble. Greece is really going after Malachi, though I don't think it matters too much. Lord sniping the dwarves doesn't typically matter. They're far too courageous for such things. Troll hammers take Greasus down half of his HP in one volley as the fire drake, the Iron Drakes regular with their flamethrowers just kind of pelt him for fun. A lot of fire damage causing leadership problems, but also reducing any healing the ogres might receive from their Slaughtermaster if they got it. The man-eaters are, some of them are rallied, some of them are back as they're clubbing through dwarves, but there's a lot of dwarves to club through. What is with the American teams throwing today? This was a wild build from Taco. So, I don't know. I think I understand Gojira's position last game. I get it. I don't think it's a great build overall, but like, you could see the pieces if his units just had more ammo and more firepower. They were just trying to outkite the Thunder Tusk and Lead Belchers. Why another live? Is it a rematch? So the title doesn't say USA 2 or USA 4, but Visegrad beat USA 2, which was my team, and now they're fighting USA 4 just with how the bracket worked out. So the title just said Visegrad versus US, which I remembered was a different title, so I threw the again in there so people in the future who are watching don't get confused. Army loss is going to take Greasus out, as he can't even finish Malachi with monstrous impact and being a chariot. Not a lot of value on the melee units for the dwarves. A lot of it is going to be on these Iron Drakes, all of which paid for themselves. Yeah, big damage values. Very clean game from the dwarves. Definitely why I still think they're quite strong. It's matchup dependent, but their Iron Drakes are still nutty. Ogres got blasted, son. It's not often I have to put the X. That's an X. We're going to count that as an X over a Taco's name, but here we are. All right. USA's got to pull a reverse sweep. Hattie versus Danny Kentrop. Danny, one of the best domination players in the world. Though, to be fair, I did pressure him pretty good, so how good could he really be? All right, here we are. High Elves versus Slaanesh, and Danny is on the High Elves. Now is the time, dear Hattie. Turn this around. Kick his ass. Danikin loses every game. Danikin is a punk bastard. It's true. True. Both sides having a pretty elite front line overall. Looks like we have Chaos Warriors and Slaangors with a couple Forsaken here and there versus Swordmasters and Silverengard. Riders of the Mighty Serpent on the side of Slaanesh as well. A Chaos Sorcerer of Shadows with Pendulum and Melkoth. Don't see a lot of Pendulum, but it is making a comeback versus Grand Cathay. And I guess now versus High Elves. Usually against factions with really tight front lines. 2 Tyrannok Chariots. And then an Archmage of Light with Net and Foz protection. Frontline of Silverengard. 1 Swordmaster of Hoeth. 2 Silver Helms. So High Elves going with a very elite small infantry corps and then some mobility to try and skirmish / cycle charge, and Slaanesh going with heavy infantry spam to try and take the points quickly. They also know that the High Elves don't have the best anti-armor anti-infantry units. Rangers are anti-infantry, White Lions are anti-armor, but neither are both. So you do have to get all the way up to Swordmasters to get some decent anti-infantry stats. Tyrannok Chariots doing a bit of kiting. Sure. I mean, they're still chariots. They can still run over infantry ad nauseum. They have magic damage ammunition, so those fiends that are coming now, or pleasure seekers, or furies, or seekers, are going to have a pretty bad time. The DPS of these chariots is suspect, let's just say. Rampages coming out. No, it's Melkoths. Of course it is. They didn't bring us Slaanesh casters. The Fiends are just gonna try and catch them while they're slowed. But in comes a net. They get one little charge off, then they get netted. And now the Silverhelms look to maybe be getting a wraparound. Yes. So they're gonna sandwich in on the now netted Fiends, who are also getting shot by magic damage arrows. And that could be a really good start here for Danica Drop. Beautiful trap there. I really liked that the Silverhelms came in on both sides like a pincer, just to really maximize their damage value. The Tyrannok Chariots do charge through Slaangors, doing honestly pathetic damage, which is generally why they're not considered that good. I do think he brought them against Slaanesh specifically for the magic damage arrows, but yeah, as Chariots, they're pretty damn pathetic. That was 2 Chariots charging a Slaangor that was unbraced. It didn't do much damage, and then they got kind of stuck in them on the way out. Le cringe. But they do have a lot of ammo, which is nice. High Elves have taken point 1. Point 2 was theirs briefly due to some skirmish shenanigans, but Slaanesh retakes it, and Slaanesh has point 3. So overall, the capture points are going to favor Slaanesh. High Elves have summoned a second Swordmaster of Hoeth, and the Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh want nothing to do with it, so they're going to retreat. What is Slaanesh going to summon that can deal with those Swordmasters, I wonder? I guess Pendulum. They already have Pendulum, they don't have to summon it, but maybe they're just hoping for Pendulum to win the day on that. Because I don't see them summoning Pleasure Seekers yet, which would be good at cycle charging out the Swordmasters. No Demonettes, no Exalted Demonettes, so they're not summoning any infantry of their own that can challenge Swordmasters in any meaningful way, which could be a problem. Swordmasters jump in on the Devoted Marauders, and in comes a Pendulum, though it is a little crooked, and yeah, Danny just hugs right up against the unit, dodging most of it. Beautiful dodge there by Danica Drop. Following it up with some Oceanids. Not a lot of magic damage here from Slaanesh. The Oceanids should be pretty free to slither and worm their way through the Slaanesh tides. And then paired with the Swordmasters, I mean, these Devoted Marauders and Forsaken are toast. They didn't bring the Rampage caster with Slaanesh. What's going on today? They just didn't feel like it, bro. They didn't feel like it. Hellstriders get run down by the Silverhelms, netted so they can't run away. Man, this High Elf game is so far putting on a clinic. Huge lead for Danny. Not on the capture points, to be fair, but on the damage value, it's going very well. As the Fiends have charged back in, they end up in Silverengard and getting shot by Tyrannok Chariots. Pretty rough engagement for them. I wonder if they were just getting frustrated and ended up moving forward. Slaangor is charging into Silverengard, and a Melkoth's onto the Chariot. That is not going to do very much damage. He must have done it for the slow. But there's no follow-up for that slow, so that just felt like a weird miscast there. Oceanids and the Swordmasters we mentioned, they've already killed the Devoted Marauder. It's running over there. They've almost killed this Forsaken, and now they're working on another Chaos Warrior, so they're doing fantastically. Hellstriders getting run off the map by Silverhelms. More Silverhelms getting summoned in. And Slaanesh still holds the center point, still hold point 3, so doing okay on actual like point capturing stuff, but they're down over 2-to-1 damage value, which needs to change soon or they're going to attrition out pretty badly. Still the Oceanids and Swordmasters tear through anybody sent their way. These Forsaken are now retreating, leaving the Chaos Warriors to stand alone against the weird writhing Oceans and the Swordmasters. And what is that? A Foz Protection Overcast, giving more melee defenses to Silverengard. 78 melee defense on them, 72 for the Swordmasters of Hoeth that are continuing to blend through the Slaanesh front line. And Slaanesh bringing more Chaos Warriors forward, but what are they summoning? That's what I need to see. They're summoning more Forsaken and Fiends. That's not gonna kill the Swordmasters and push those guys off the point, but I wonder if they even brought anything. Like, even in their reserves, I wonder if they have anything that can kill the Swordmasters. As another net is down onto the Fiends. Another fighting Silverhelms. Generally, they'll do okay there, but with second Silverhelm coming in, sandwiching them in, much like the start of the game, it seems like Danny has a pretty good plan on how to deal with Fiends. Damage value increases to 3,500 lead for the High Elves. The Forsaken are trying to get to the fight, but there's still Swordmasters waiting to receive them. Both Swordmasters very healthy, and they haven't even gotten healing. Storm Riders come over with a little bit of arrow pressure. So what the arrows are for, I don't know. The Fiends seem pretty well handled. I guess there's one skirmish cab that is about to take some damage. Fiends didn't take as much damage in that Silverhelm wraparound as they did last time. They did survive that okay, and they're fighting back against the Oceanids and the Swordmasters. Meanwhile, we get more Slaangor summons from Hattie. Just trying to get boys. He just wants more bodies out here. I would still contend that you need better bodies, not more bodies right now. The Swordmasters are just this absolute meat grinder that anybody is getting fed into. Again, I don't know what's in his reserve, so I can't say that he even has anything that he can summon to deal with them. As more Slongors run forward. Silver Helms shattering some Devoted Marauders, other Silver Helms, plus the Storm Rider shots, getting rid of the Riders, the Mighty Serpent. Hell's Riders charge in. Though they are not armor piercing, the Silver Helms can withstand some of their damage with 100 armor. Still, some of it will get through, and they are overall taking a lot of damage as the netcaster is wondering what to do. These Fiends have been bumping and grinding in this fight for quite a while. The Oceanids and the Swordmasters down to half HP apiece. Still doing great. They're still doing their jobs, but they are starting to take damage. As the Tyrannok Chariots have officially run out of ammunition, they are going to charge Slongors. Let's see the giant, giga, huge damage from those chariots. Oh no. It was a couple thousand, which 2 chariots ramming a low-tier unarmored infantry. Probably do more. Should probably do more. Tyrannok Chariots are bad. They're bad. I hate them. High Elves going for a triple cap. They do have a 5,000 damage value lead at this point, making them feel pretty confident they can hold all 3 points at the same time. Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Shadows, is getting sniped out currently by Silver Helms and the Archmage of Light. Though Slaanesh isn't that bad on leadership, a lot of their all their units are immune to psychology, and they didn't bring any of their demonic units, so they'll largely be fine. Still, losing your lord is still bad. It means you'll rout quicker and quicker and quicker. Slaanesh going for a bit of a back cap, but the Tyrannok Chariots cycle charging that somehow they are dying during, and the Storm Rider Overwatch Fire should be able to get rid of those guys. Ocean's attack animation seems really, really good at killing infantry. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, as they do their little dances. Whee! Both those Forsaken about to rout. Man, these Swordmasters are still, they're half HP and they have 1,800 value and it's still going strong. Oceanids have 1,100 and they're doing fine as well. Shadows Caster is routing. Slaanesh overall has a lot of routing units, and they have 11 units on the field, and that counts that guy who's dead, that guy who's dead, that guy who's dead, and apparently the replay ended. That was a beautiful game from Danny. He clearly had it planned out and executed effectively. He had a Silvering Guard he started the game with that got 0 value. I wonder where it ended up. Swordmasters did very, very well. Silver Helms did their jobs. Tyrannok Chariots, really good value from shooting at the Fiends all game. Not as much charging the infantry. Rangers were around, they did what they needed to, but the second summon of Swordmasters also did fantastically, so clearly they were a big problem for Slaanesh. On the other side for Slaanesh, he took some decent space, but he didn't trade back much damage. As I look around, yeah, he just didn't have anything. Even if you look at his reserves, there was no anti-infantry blunders. US has a tough road to come back and win now, I'll say, buddy. Because it is 3-0. Danny took it. So now we know Visegrad is in the semifinals. We'll still cast the last 2 games, because they deserve to be cast. Daceberg versus Beard. They have Segos versus Incars. But do not worry, my friends, there is another matchup. After this one, we have the Slavic Mushroom Pickers. They named themselves that, I didn't do it, versus Clan VM. Delete that game. Find the next game. That is Segos Incars. So does this one. Daceberg on the Beastmen with Torox, the Brass Bull, versus Tomb Kings, led by Ark in the Black. Let's go. So we saw the Beastmen earlier today win versus Wood Elves, but they went down a bit early, and then through some really good mobility plays by Ash, they came back in the game. This is a bit different of a style. Still pretty infantry heavy on the start, Ungor Spearman herds and Gore herds, including a Corn Gore, but we have the Butchers of Kelkengard, which are much more common in domination than what Ash was bringing. Regeneration, Terror, just really good unit to bring. We have a Traitor King caster, then Torox, and a Gore Bull. Now I usually see a Doom Bull and a Gore Bull, but Torox is just kind of that anyway. And he brings fire damage, which the Tomb Kings don't like. On the other side, what did we see here? Tomb Kings with a lot of infantry, though not a ton. A good amount, but not as much as I've seen them bring in the past. Triple Nehekara Warrior, don't see a lot of them, even in Domination. Chosen the Gods, pretty standard. Sphinx at Usef, makes sense. And then Arkan the Black, with Spirit Leech and Doom and Darkness, then with his summon as well. Okay. So the Tomb King's gonna probably summon in Sepulchral Stalkers, probably summon in a bunch of those light cavalry. And the Beastmen look like they're going to be summoning in more infantry, more Khorne Gors, though I wouldn't be shocked to see Centaurs coming out from them soon. Though I suppose neither side really values their cavalry in this matchup. Tomb Kings don't need a lot of their cheap cavalry to peel for their backline because they don't bring much of a backline here. And their backline can sort of defend itself. And meanwhile, the Centaurs also don't have many archers to disrupt in this matchup. And the Tomb King's light cavalry doesn't matter, so killing it doesn't really matter either. So yeah, I wonder how much both sides will prioritize their normal cavalry units, or maybe they'll just skip it. Torox gets hit with a Spirit Leech and starts to retreat. Gets away from the Ushabti right bows that are firing currently at the Khorne Gors. Decent little poke as they run away. But overall, it's fine. Sepulchral Stalkers have been summoned, hiding in the back. Obviously, they're stocks the Beastmen don't know to be looking for them. And the Beastmen seem pretty happy with the current status quo. Not keen on trying to push back that undead front line, so they're just going to be happy with a double cap and wait for a bit. And a lot of their units are stocked as well. This Goreherd isn't. This one's in the trees. This one's technically not in the trees for some reason, so it is visible and able to be shot. The Beastmen are now starting to bring some of their Centaurs forward. Tomb Kings have 1,400 supplies. I wonder what they'll bother to spend it on. As the big Sphinx starts to walk away menacingly back towards the trees. There he goes. In come melee Ushabti and skeleton horsemen. So we are getting some mass, but some of it is melee Ushabti. Melee Ushabti are good. There's no big overhead score. IDK, what is happening? We're in game 4. So yeah. The big overhead score is hard to do because the sides switch depending on who sent in the replays sometimes. So then it's like, do I just keep switching it off and on? And meh. Streams are short enough. Traderkin Overcast out onto Arkan the Black, doing a little bit of poke damage. But for 3 minutes into this game, the damage values are really, really low. As Beard and the Tomb Kings continue to get some free damage out on Ogre Spearman herds, though. Sphinx Usef, not exactly known for infantry clearing. It does okay. Especially versus such low-tier spears. They're not even really going to damage it in return. Up come the Tomb Kings. They do need to eventually take some point. Obviously, just the status quo. They will get outcapped. And Arkan is currently very trapped in Ungor Spearman herds. Just being on a horse, his mass is quite terrible, and he's lost about a quarter of his HP on the charge of the Butcher of the Guard. Now Torox and the Doom Bull are also here, and Arkan is really having a tough time getting out as the Minotaurs jump all over him. He is in big trouble. Even with the Skeleton Warrior summon out, he is trying to peel for himself. It's really not working out. Arkan takes a ton of damage, down to half HP. The Sphinx isn't even going to jump in and try and save him. It's just realized that that's doomed as Sepulchral Stalkers move up, try and fire down to the pit to help him out. Now the Sphinx is going to come over, but it's probably too late for the little Lich King, little Lich Priest. One more hit and Arkan is guaranteed dead. He just won't be able to rally from that, and there you go. So I don't think he can rally from this point, even if Torox doesn't hit him anymore. If he's taking too much damage too quickly, he'll crumble away. Damn. Really rough start then for the Tomb Kings. They summon in a Screaming Skull Catapult, but already the Sphinx is down close to half HP, as well as the Butchers of Calgon Guard, Torox, and the Doom Bull all are attacking him. And the Ushabti Great Bows are trying to shoot at Torox, but their spread shots are really, really bad against small single entities. They do need to focus more on clustered up infantry or cavalry, or really, really big single entities like Dreadsaurian or something like that. It's Arkan's fault the vampires exist, so it's deserved. Damn. There's a bit of a blob fight going on that the Tomb Kings are going to hope to turn this game around. I mean, if you can kill off Torox and the Butchers of Calgon Guard, then you're definitely back in this game. Sepulchral Stalkers technically have anti-large and armor piercing in melee, though they tend to prefer to shoot. They can do okay in melee. And the Sphinx, of course, is going to be doing very well. Screaming Skull Catapult offering Overwatch fire, doing some serious friendly fire, however, because we're fighting on a bit of a hill, that when the skulls start to come down the hill, it's more likely that they'll hit their own guys in the back or overshoot rather than hit what they wanted to. Porngor is fighting the Hekara Warriors. That is going very well for the Hekara Warriors. Screaming Skull Catapult still really struggling to hit any shots onto the actual enemy. And Torox continues to duel with the Sphinx of Usef. Now, Butcher Skeleton Guard have taken a lot of damage. That's nice, but a big Traderkin over the top, and the Sphinx is about to die. The Butcher should be able to slowly heal up, and Torox is not going to die, which is a big problem here. Daceberg on the Beastmen is currently up a little bit on damage value, but Crumbling does not count, and also it doesn't really count that Arkan is dead. You get the value from killing Arkan, but you don't get the value from killing Arkan. You know what I mean? The lowered leadership, no access to your own Winds of Magic, those are all like things that don't show up in like gold. Sphinx is dead. Sporkle Stalkers are dead, which is a lot of the damage potential of the Tomb Kings. We have a summoned Ushabti running around, though they're taking a lot of damage, and of course their summons, they're naturally just going to fade away at some point as the Butchers and the Gorbel continue to fight. So the Butchers can regenerate, and the Gorbel just likes fighting. He doesn't actually need to be in melee for anything, but, you know, he likes it. Makes him happy. For the Beastmen, Centaur is coming back, more Korngor is getting summoned in. And on the backfield, 2 Ungor Spearman herds are stuck dueling a random Skeleton Spearman to make sure that point 1 remains theirs. Very high stakes battle over here. Beastmen still at point 3. Not by a ton. There is a lot of red units here, though. I suppose these are Ushabti and then Flying Carrion. Not much capture weight. Torox and the Doom Bull going to fall back to point 3. Maybe find some more infantry to put beneath their hooves so they don't get surrounded. And despite the early Arkan summon, Bird's doing okay on damage value. He's kept up with the Beastmen. So that is something. I wonder if he'll wait and resummon Arkan, or if he's just going to try and play the rest of this game out without a Lord. It's pretty difficult, especially when you probably have a lot of Winds of Magic left. He only got a few Spirit Leeches off before dying. Screaming Skull Catapults getting decent damage down onto the Beastmen, also just lowering their leadership enough to maybe get them to rout, but I don't know, the Tomb Kings are about to lose a lot of very important units. We see 4 units here crumbling right in front of us, and once those fade away, their just battlefield presence is going to be super low, and the Beastmen can slowly walk at the Ushabti Great Bows and force them back. And then it's like, all right, do you take time to summon Arkan or not, because you're already losing battlefield presence? Scream Skull Catapult also under attack by a flank Centaur throwing axes. Some Hekara Warriors are going to try and peel. I honestly don't know if they can even peel in time, though. If these Centaurs just commit to giving their lives for the catapults, they might be able to do it. Catapult's half HP, but that is a little fraudulent. The crew is probably taking more damage than that, so once they dismount from the catapults, you'll probably see a big chunk of their HP fall off. Though it's not going to happen, as the Centaurs are going to rout any second now. Yeah, Scream Skull was down line, but looks like the Tomb King's just throwing the towel. Arkan, one misstep, and he is dead. Dead and gone. Trader King Caster and Torox got good value. Doom Bull overall was kind of underwhelming, unfortunately. Gorehordes did fine. Minotaurs did fine. Arkan 700 value before he got murdered. Hekara did okay. Chosen Gods did fine. As for the reinforcements, we didn't even see the Necrotect summoned. Skeleton Horsemen were there, technically. They died off screen. We didn't see them. And that's that. Centaurs didn't get too much value either, so yeah, it was not really a game about cavalry. It was a game about murder. So why am I being pinged? All right. Bird is down. Green over to the side of Daceberg. Bam, bam. Last game is Segos versus Incars. Incars, can you get one on the board for USA? Or are we going out 5-0? 5-0. Let's do it. Segos on Norsca. Oops. I think I forgot to bring you over there. There's the scoreboard. Segos on Norsca. Incars on Greenskins. Here we go. For Incars, he really seems to like the Goblin on the Giant Spider. So we do have the Goblin on the Giant Spider with Vindictive Glare and Sneaky Stabbin'. And then we have Stone Trolls, Broken Tusk Mob, Orc Boy Biggins, a bunch of Orc R Boys. Well, not a bunch, actually, just 2. Orc R Boys, and then Ruglan's Armored Orcs. And then a front line of Orc Biggins and Black Orcs with great weapons. On the other side, for Norsca, Marauder Horsemen throwing axes, Rider the Mighty Serpent, Blood Shriek Chimera, the Chimera ROR, and then Marauder Bearmen, Marauders, Javelin Throwers, Skin Wolves, Norscan Ice Wolves, the Beasts of Tashnar, and a Sorcerer, Shaman Sorcerer of Metal, like Rust and Searing Doom. Neat. Greenskins should be pretty happy with how the front line is going to go, as the Vindictive Glares have started. I know Inkars really likes spamming them from the Spider Lord. Really good vantage point, so we can get a lot of good damage down. Nice high angle of fire. If he's on the ground or on his wolf, he can tend to friendly fire some troops or just hit the ground with several bolts. So the Greenskins should win the frontline fight. I worry about late game with the ROR Chimera being able to land and heal and whatnot, but we'll see how that goes. And sneaky stabbing out onto the Blackbird's great weapons, giving them 60 melee attack and almost 60 weapon strength as well. But a Searing Doom doesn't care about your melee attack. Ooh, good dodge from Inkars, trying to really hug in onto the Bearmen. Take as little damage as possible. That's quite nice. Other Orc Biggins get rear charged by the ROR Chimera. They now face a fight on 2 fronts, but the Orc Boar Biggins charging in. Don't know who their attack orders were actually onto. A couple of them ended up on the Blood Shriek Chimera, but since they weren't like centered on it, I don't think that was their attack order. I think it was the Skin Wolves, judging by how much damage the Skin Wolves are taking. And the Marauders are almost routing too, so this could be a big win for the Greenskins if their leadership holds, which the Orc Biggins barely do. Plague of Rust Overcast onto the Goblin Great Shaman. Only 60 armor on him as he tries to disrupt the Javelin Throwers, but there's 2 of them and only 1 of him, so whichever he isn't targeting is going to shut him down. Actually, there's 3. This other one is also just guard mode shooting at him. Goblin Great Shaman down half of its HP already. Meanwhile, in the backfield, Skin Wolves and Skirmish Cap having a hard time really finding a way in. First wall comes out as Orc Boar Biggins charge into Norscan Ice Wolves. Should be a good engagement for the Greenskins, but the Chimera does throw a bit of a wrench in things. Still, the Goblin Great Shaman getting very low on HP is super concerning. 1 Skin Wolf is routing, Marauders are also routing, and now the Greenskin frontline has gotten onto the Javelin Throwers, which should keep the Goblin Great Shaman safe for now, though I think he has some Chimera Breath attacks in his future coming his way. Elsewhere on the Norscan backline, the infantry are still pushing in, but the mobility is going well for them. They've taken out both Orc Boar Biggins here and do need to retreat from the Black Orcs in the Orc Biggins, slowly moving their way. And if they can secure the mobility, then they can also get their Jav Throwers back, because the Greenskins just can't keep chasing those guys down. As 2 Skirmish Cav come over to say hello to the already wounded Goblin Shaman, probably want to take him out. Chimera is helping to pick off the last of the mobility of the Greenskins. Rugland Armored Orcs are just left on their own, fighting Skin Wolves in melee, which they do not love. The Greenskins are down a little bit on the balance of power. Makes sense. Norsca's moving in. Another Plague of Rust down to the Goblin Great Shaman, though the Skirmish Cav not able to get too much damage out. Here they get some throwing axes in as Inkars dodges a couple things, but Black Orcs are here to peel, and they force those Skirmish Cavalry back. Seems appropriate. Blood Shriek Chimera getting hit with a don't even try it, just a little Arcane Unforging sort of spell. The Goblin Great Shaman's very low on HP. And there goes another sneaky stab, and this time on to Black Orcs fighting Skin Wolves. That should do a lot of damage as the Skin Wolves are already down to half HP, but as Searing Doom tries to hurt them, Inkar's just going to dodge back, and he's largely fine. Vindictive Glare out, trying to snipe the Shaman Sorcerer. The Great Shaman Sorcerer. It's a desperation play. He's got to do something to get Norsca's leadership a little lower so he can rout them off, but his Lord is so low on HP. A lot of his units are really low on HP, and he's just having a tough time. Skin Wolves are going to chomp away at the Spider's legs. Spider turns back and is going to fight them, but damage is damage. Skin Wolves regenerate, the Spider does not, so they're happy to value trade with it for a little bit. There goes a Plague of Rust, making it more susceptible to the Skin Wolves, who have impressive weapon strength and anti-large, but not that much armor piercing. The Goblin Great Shaman is getting very close to routing. If he does, as we mentioned before, the Greenskins have no mobility left, so he is just going to get walked off the map or murdered. His Jav Throwers plus the Skin Wolves continue to just take him out. I think we'll see that Spider collapse soon. There he goes. Greenskins lose their leadership. They start to lose hope and buckle. Gonna see more and more white flags around the map. We still have one healthy black orc, one decent black orc, and a goblin with spears. But that is it for the Greenskins. That does not sound like a winning recipe versus a chimera that can land and heal, and then a bunch of skirmish cav at full HP, skin wolves healing up, etc., etc. Orc-Biggin's probably gonna slap the crap out of these last Norscan ice wolves, but I don't know if they could beat Marauder Bearmen and skin wolves. Yeah, they're not going to. They just route. Army losses should take out the last healthy black orc before the Norskins even have to. And that'll be GG. Man, Balance Power really thinks this one black orc can do it. Maybe not probably, but they think you can do it. I think one good charge on those goblins is going to end this. Let's see. One good charge on the goblins. Bam! Got him. 5-0 to Visegrad. Try by USA 4. But Europe's too strong. Marauder Hunter Javelins did pretty well. Norscan Ice Wolves and Skin Wolves did very well. That was where a lot of the value came from. Bloodtree Chimera didn't even do that much. For Inkars, his Spider Shaman did fine. Got focused pretty heavily. His Black Orcs and Orc-Biggins won the front line, but it just wasn't enough to like beat all the mobility of the Norscan roster, and their Boar Boys got picked apart. There we go. 5th green mark for the Forces of Visegrad. X marks the spot for USA. So we'll take that off the screen. Move up here. 5-0 sweep. All right, Visegrad versus France, two very strong teams in the semifinals. We'll see who wins that one. And we'll pop over to the other stream in just a minute for Slavic Mushroom Pickers. I didn't name them that, versus VM. Wait, where's the Spanish team? I need a siesta. I need a nippy nap. Sleepy time. All right, I'll see you guys there. We'll send you over here. Okay, US, time to refocus and bring this back. Awesome Rhino, I don't know if that's gonna happen, buddy. What happened? All right, see y'all in a second.